So, ladies and gentlemen, most of my sarcasm as a movie reviewer came about in the early 1970s when I was reading some of those Mad Magazine paperback books that would repeat their reviews of movies within their big issue. And one of them really stood out for me. I had no idea what Whatever Happened to Baby Jane was because I was still quite young, I think 6 or 7. But when they parodied Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, boys, they put him through the ringer, and the parody was better than the movie. Now, this is part of like our Hag Horror series, or what do you call Menopausal Mayhem. It came out in '64. Now, the psychological horror thriller was directed and produced by Robert Aldrich, who did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and starred Betty Davis, Olivia de Havilland, Joseph Cotton, Angus Moorhead, and Mary Astor in her final film role. It follows a middle aged Southern woman suspected in the unsolved murder of her lover from decades before, who was plagued by bizarre occurrences after summoning her cousin to help challenge the local government's impending demolition of her home. The screenplay was adapted by Henry Farrell and Lucas Heller from Farrell's unpublished short story, Whatever Happened to Cousin Charlotte. Now, screenplay by Farrell and Heller, based on, of course, Farrell's story, produced by Aldrich. Also, Cecil Calloway was in it as well. Great performance. Cinematography by Joseph Birak. Edited by Michael Luciano. Music by Frank Duvall. Production company The Associates and Aldrich. Distributed by 20th Century. Release Christmas '64, December 16th. 133 minutes. Only cost $2.2 million, but only got $4 million back at the box office. Now, this one, in 27, young Southern belle Charlotte Hollis and her married lover John Mayhew planned to elope during a party at Hollis's family antebellum mansion in Ascension Parish, Louisiana. Charlotte's father, Sam, confronts John over the affair and intimidates him with the news that John's wife Jewel visited the day before and revealed the affair. John pretends that Charlotte can no longer love her and then he must part. Now, shortly after, John is ambushed and decapitated in a summer house by an assailant with a cleaver. Charlotte returns to the house in a blood-stained dress, which all of the guests witness. Now, 37 years later, Charlotte, now a spinster, has inherited the estate after her father passed. She is tended to by her loyal housekeeper, Velma, but in the intervening years, John's death has remained an unsolved murder, though it's commonly held that Charlotte was responsible. Despite notice from the Louisiana Highway Commission that she has been evicted from the property to make way for the pending construction of a new interstate, Charlotte is defiant and threatens the demolition crew with a rifle. Seeking help in her fight against the Highway Commission, Charlotte summons Miriam, a poor cousin who lived with the family as a girl, but has since moved to New York City. Miriam returns and soon renews her relationship with Drew Bayless, a local doctor who jilted her. Charlotte's sanity soon deteriorates following Miriam's arrival. Her nights are haunted by a mysterious harpsichord playing the song John wrote for her and by the appearance of his disembodied hand and head. Suspecting that Miriam and Drew are after Charlotte's money, Velma seeks help from Mr. Willis, an insurance investigator from England who is still fascinated by the case and who has visited Mayhew's ailing widow Jewel. She gave him an envelope, only to be opened after her death. Now, when Miriam fires Velma, she later returns to discover Charlotte has been drugged. Velma plans to expose Miriam's exploitation of Charlotte, but Miriam hits Velma with a chair and she falls down the stairs to her death. Now, Drew covers up the murder by declaring it an accident. One night, the drugged Charlotte runs downstairs in a grip of hallucination, believing that John has returned to her. After Miriam tricks the intoxicated Charlotte into shooting Drew with a gun loaded with blanks, the two dispose of his body in a swamp. Charlotte returns to his house and witnesses the revived Drew walking downstairs after return, reducing her to insanity. Believing she had shattered Charlotte's mental state, Miriam celebrates with Drew in the garden, where they discuss the plan to have Charlotte committed to a psych ward and usurp her fortune. Charlotte overhears the entire conversation from the balcony, except for Miriam's admission that she had witnessed Jewel kill John and has been using the knowledge to blackmail Drew throughout the years. Charlotte pushes a large stone urn off the balcony, killing both Miriam and Drew below. Pretty good shot. Now, next day, the authorities escort Charlotte from the home as a crowd gathers to observe the spectacle. Charlotte receives an envelope from Mr. Willis, which she received from Jewel, who died of a stroke after hearing of the incident which occurred on the previous night, ostensibly confessing to the murder of her husband John. As the authorities leave with Charlotte, She looks back at the house. So some interesting cast as well. Victor Buono returns, who was got nominated for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane as Big Sam Hollis. William Campbell plays Paul Marchand. A young Bruce Dern plays their young John Mayhew. Frank Ferguson plays the editor. George Kennedy plays the foreman. And Ellen Corby and Marianne Stewart and Helen Cleaver as the town gossips. Of course, Mrs. Walton, Grandma Walton, Ellen Corby. Now, following the unexpected box office success of What Happened to Baby Jane, Aldrich wanted to make a film with similar themes for Crawford and Davis. Their feud was infamous and legendary, and they were not initially eager to repeat themselves. Writer Henry Farrell, on whose novel the film had been based, had written an unpublished short story called Whatever Happened to Cousin Charlotte. Now, this is how it gets freaky. Aldrich envisioned as a suitable follow-up. It told a similar story of a woman who manipulates a relative for personal gain. But for this film, Aldrich's idea was that two actresses would switch the roles from the previous one, with Crawford playing the devious cousin trying to manipulate the innocent Davis into giving up her estate. Aldrich's frequent collaborator, Lucas Heller, wrote a draft of the screenplay, but was replaced by Farrell in late '63. Now again, Wesley Addy and Dave Wilcox also returned from Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Now, the cast included Mary Astor, a friend of Davis since her days at Warner Brothers. Astor did retire from acting and died in '87. Astor said, "My agent had called just this cameo movie with Betty Davis. It's a hell of a part. It could put you right up there again." I read the script. The opening shot described a severed head rolling down the stairs, and each page contained more blood and gore and hysterics, and cracked mirrors and everybody being awful to everybody else. I skipped to, in my few pages, a little old lady sitting on a veranda waiting to die. There was a small kicker in as much as it was she who was the murderess in her youth, and it started all the trouble. And then in the story, she died. Good. Now I'd really be dead. It as was with Bet, which seems sentimentally fitting. Now, principal photography of the film began in mid '64, with on-location shooting commencing in Baton Rouge. However, the shoot was temporarily suspended on several occasions early on. Initially, it was halted after a third-party lawsuit was brought against Davis by Paramount Pictures over a commitment to complete additional filming on Where Love Is Gone. When this was resolved, filming recommenced. The production was postponed again to allow Crawford to recover after she was admitted to the hospital due to an upper respiratory ailment, though Aldrich hired a PI to track her and determine whether or not she was actually ill. By August 4th, '64, the production had been suspended indefinitely, and the studio's insurance company insisted that Crawford be replaced, or else the film would have to be cancelled entirely. Now, Aldrich sought several actresses to replace Crawford, including Loretta Young and Vivian Lee, but they were each unable or unwilling to take the role. Aldrich ultimately sought Olivia de Havilland for the part and flew to her home in Switzerland to attempt to convince her to take the role. Now, de Havilland, a previous Oscar winner, just like Betty Davis, agreed, and she subsequently flew to LA to begin filming. In later interviews, de Havilland expressed displeasure with the film. "I wasn't thrilled with the script, but I definitely didn't like my part. It was reverse typecast, being asked to be an unsympathetic villain. It wasn't what people expected of me, it was really what I wanted to do. Bet wanted it so much, so I did it. I can't say I regretted it, because working with her was special, but I can't say it was a picture I'm proud to put on my resume. Given a choice, I wouldn't have deprived Joan Crawford of the horror and the honor." According to Crawford, she only learned of her firing from a news radio broadcast. However, despite being replaced, and because the planned reshoot with de Havilland in Louisiana was canceled, brief footage of Crawford made it into the film when she is seen sitting in a taxi in a wide shot for Miriam's arrival at the house. Crawford can also be seen peering out the window wearing dark sunglasses. Now, scenes outside the Hollis mansion were shot on location at Oak Alley Plantation, Louisiana. Scenes of the interior were shot on a soundstage in Hollywood. Now, the title song by Frank Defoe became a hit for Patti Page. He recorded a version which reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Now, according to Fox Records, the film needed to earn 3.9 million rentals to break even and made 4.9, meaning it made a profit of 1.05 million. In France, the film sold nearly 80,000 tickets. Now, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte was another hit for Aldrich, opening to positive reviews. A pan, however, came from New York Times, as boss Lee Crowther observed, so calculated, coldly carpeted as the tale of murder, mayhem, and deceit that Mr. Aldrich stages in his mansion that it soon appears grossly contrived, purposely sadistic, and brutally sickening. So instead of coming out funny, as whatever happened to Baby Jane did, it comes out grisly, pretentious, disgusting, and profoundly annoying. Well, tell me what you think. Now, Variety's reviewer wrote, Davis's portrayal is reminiscent of Jane in its emotional overtones and her style of characterization of the near-crazed former Sutton Belle. Now, and he also say how de Havilland was as restrained and apart. Now, Julie Chris wrote about the film. The Gignol is about as grand as it gets, and Kenneth Tyne asserted that Davis has done nothing better since The Little Foxes. A later review for Time Out, over the top, of course, and not a lot to it, but it's officially directed, beautifully shot. It contains enough scary sequences amid the brooding, tense atmosphere. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, he's actually done quite well. He's got 82% of 28 reviews are positive, with an average rating of 7.3. Now, Moorhead won the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress. The film has received 7 nominations, 2 more than Baby Jane, 1 less in the acting category, namely for Davis, for the 37 Academy Awards, breaking the record as the most for a horror film up until that time. Now, in the Academy Awards, it didn't win any prizes, but Best Supporting Actor, Moorhead nominated. Best Art Direction, Black and White, William Glasgow and Raphael Breton. Best Cinematography, Black and White, Joseph Biroc. Best Costume Design, Black and White, Norma Koch. Best Film Editing, Michael Luciano. Best Score, Original, Frank Duvall. And, of course, the best song, actually, Mac David did the lyrics for Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. At the Edgar Awards, won Best Motion Picture. Golden Globe Awards, Moorhead won for Best Supporting Actress. And at the Laurel Awards, Davis won Top Female. Moorhead was nominated for Top Female Supporting. And Top Song, again, was nominated for Frank Duvall and Mac David. Now, the film was released late on DVD on August 9, 2005, and re-released on April 8, 2008 as part of the Betty Davis Centenary Collection. Now, high-def Blu-ray in October 2016, in a Treethouse print limited edition by Twilight Time. Another Blu-ray was released in the UK as part of their Master of Cinemas in 2019. I really don't remember seeing a copy of this on VHS. Maybe somebody could correct me, but it was not even shown that much on late-night TV because movies like this, no disrespect, I mean, it was kind of a big chunk of water. There's a lot of people are not going to watch if 12:30 is the movie all the way to 3:30 in the morning. Usually, what happens late night movies back on CTV or CBC in Canada back in the day was 2 hours. But this is like I said, this is a big drink of water, ladies and gentlemen, over 2.5 hours. I would suspect it inspired a lot of people to shoot in Louisiana TV or movies. It's a very beautiful looking film. And the fact is, you can't go wrong with multiple Oscar winners and nominated actors. Joseph Cotton's always been nominated. Cecil Calloway's always been strong. And, of course, de Havilland and Joseph Cotton appeared together in Airport 77, which was technically 15 years after this. And de Havilland, she looks quite luminous, too. Very beautiful lady. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our Hag Horror series, which will continue this June on our podcast channel, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, menopausal mayhem, whatever you want to call it, older people going crazy. Have a good one. Bye.